this is embarrassing. As a German American, I know the Germans can be very proud people. And I'll tell you, this is not good. German swap spreads have collapsed into inversion. Sovereign creditworthiness takes a slide. Now Germany is being compared to Italy. Now, I don't know if you know much about European politics, but when you start talking debt and Italy, the first word that comes to mind for people who study the European Union is pig. Well, pigs. Portugal, Italy, Greece, Spain, 2013, lots of debt, austerity, trash piling up in the center of Athens because they can't afford to pick up your frickin' trash. Everybody's jobless, it's a disaster, it's hell. Well, what's happening in Germany right now, some people are saying is maybe the lead in to a similar kind of hell that you saw in 2013, and quite frankly, could be recessionary for the United States as well. So in this video, I'm going to explain what is going on with Germany. Is it a potential warning sign of what's to come in America? What could it mean for American GDP? Is it going to push us into a recession? And much more. So let's get into it. So first, Germany is experiencing significant political upheaval following the collapse of their coalition government. Okay, big words, bottom line. In the United States, we got Trump, who's a Republican. You got Congress that's not led by Republicans. You got Supreme Court that's basically led by Republicans. Okay, so it's kind of like you got like a one-party rule. This is why people are like, man, this is like Xi Jinping over here. In other words, like you've got control consolidated, right? Well, in many other countries, Germany being one of them, the way you actually run a government is no one party really sweeps. Instead, you're kind of like, all right, you know, Group A, you guys got 20% of the vote. Group B, you guys got 30% of the vote, or call it 35% for simple math. And then Group C, D, E, and F, and G, or whatever y'all got, I don't know, 5, 10, 15% of the vote, whatever. And what happens then is you get little parties that group up. They form little teams. And then they come up with fancy little phrases or examples for each other. And we're like, we are the traffic light. Wir sind die Ampel, they say. Okay. So that's what Germany did. They had elections, and they put together a coalition government known as the traffic light, and that's because of the colors of the different parties, the green, yellow, and red, essentially. And this traffic light failed. The power went out. It just didn't work. In other words, the coalition government, to get over 50% of votes to actually get things done, collapsed. Why did it collapse? Well, because politicians wanted more money. Olaf Scholz is like, we need to suspend the Bremse. The Bremse is basically a brake. They have sort of like we have a debt ceiling. They have something called a debt brake. And they're like, look, Scholz says, we've got a lot of priorities here. We got a lot of work to get done. We need you to suspend the debt limit. Otherwise, you're fired. And this was with another coalition member, specifically Christian Lindner, the finance minister. He is the leader of the Free Democratic Party. And Lindner basically said no. It's kind of like, hey, Jerome Powell, you want to step down? No. Will you lift the debt brake? No. But no. And Olaf Scholz is like, well, I am the chancellor, so you are fired. And then the other dude's like, well, then you don't have a coalition government. In other words, now you go back to the chancellor being part of the minority, can't get anything done, so the chancellor's like, fine, I will hold a vote of confidence to see if the people support me. And the answer is they won't, because you don't have a majority government anymore. So you're going to get fired, and you're not going to be chancellor anymore. Where's Mama Merkel when you need her? Anyway, actually, the CDU might come back into power after all of this. That's the Christian Democratic Union. Anyway, this has a lot of implications for the European stock market and the United States stock market, but I think it's worth understanding some numbers first and where this is all coming from and why the Germans wanted more money as well. First, let's just briefly understand the connection between the United States and Germany. just Germany alone causing problems probably isn't a massive issue. You know, if Germany itself, which it probably is on the borderline of a recession, eine Krise, it's probably not that big of a deal. I mean, for the Germans, it's going to hurt, but it probably doesn't hurt the United States so much. It's more so that the United States trades a lot with the entire Eurozone. And so the strongest member of the Eurozone, Germany, collapsing, well, not collapsing, but having problems is going to weigh down the entire Eurozone, which could then weigh down trade with Greece and France and otherwise that is conducted with the United States. The United States, let's put it this way. The United States makes up of about 20% of all of the Eurozone exports, and we import out of a total of all of our imports about 17% from Germany. In total, our trade with the Eurozone makes up about 5% of GDP. So if our trade with the Eurozone drops, the entire Eurozone, by 30%, it could lower our GDP by 1.5%. Think about that. 5% of GDP is trade with the Eurozone, 30% drop because of some recession or disaster or whatever, you lower our GDP by 1.5%. Now, I'm not saying we're going to see a 30% drop, even a 10% drop would be a problem. But it's all of these things that start contributing to recessionary concerns. If you had one part of the world that was trading so much with the United States and we had so much growth, then we'd be less worried about a recession because you'd actually be going in the opposite direction. But this is contributing to pain and slowdown, or the slowdown that we've been seeing in the United States so far. Now, sure, we're still propped up by artificial intelligence, but if you haven't seen my video yet on artificial intelligence this morning, and at least what people are doing to try to expose OpenAI and some of the pain that you're getting with Gemini and Claude, I highly encourage you watch that artificial intelligence video. It's on the channel here. Meet Kevin. You know me. I'm going to cover it. Tech, artificial intelligence, politics, finance, whatever. I'll give you my opinion on it. But I want you to understand this. We have Germany's coalition government that is now essentially collapsed. And this leaves a lot of issues on the table where people are like, we don't know what's going to happen now. Some of the issues include the Deutschland ticket, which was basically a 58 euro per month ultimate travel pass to ride trains and public transit throughout the entire country of Germany for $58 a month. It sounds pretty freaking cheap. But anyway, while it's popular, it costs 1.5 billion euros, and they need an agreement on that. That's probably dead now. The SPD had a plan for a guaranteed minimum pension of 48%. That's probably going to get dropped now. There is support for Ukraine that is a big priority, but that might get dropped too because now you don't have a government that could actually pass anything. There were plans to pass laws promoting hydrogen-ready power stations because, in order for people to actually want to buy hydrogen cars, you kind of need hydrogen gas stations first. Otherwise, people are like, dude, I ain't driving an hour to fill up my hydrogen car with hydrogen. Oops. Anyway, then you have a 2025 budget that probably won't get passed before these snap elections are going to be held. We'll talk about the elections in just a moment. And the new finance minister confirmed that it's unlikely we're going to get much done between now and when elections are completed. Oops. You've also got Germany that needs to continue funding their military deployments. Like, they're deployed in Lithuania right now. They're also deployed, that's the eastern flank, right, against Russia. They're supporting Ukraine. They've got UN peacekeeping contributions. They spend a lot of money, okay? The problem is, some people are wondering, is this sort of inversion that you're getting in the bond market a sign of true fiscal pain? In other words, the government just failing to put money, or how should I put it, failing to control their fiscal expenditures, right? Is this a problem of the government just failing in that regard? Or is the market starting to price in real recessionary concerns, not just spending concerns? See, if all of the spending that I just listed is not a problem anymore, then the bond market should be happy. But it's not. It's actually inverting. It's providing issues. It's providing warning signals. but the government can't spend money now. So then that has people going, okay, well, maybe that's because there are more serious economic issues, and again, that could hurt the United States. I mean, consider this for a moment. Germany hasn't really grown in real, inflation-adjusted terms in 6 years. This is the second year of contraction that you're likely in. You've got cyclical problems, you've got structural problems, you've got demographic problems, you've got labor shortages, you have car manufacturing issues, the debt brake. You've got a lot. It's also worth knowing that while Morgan Stanley thinks maybe we finally hit a bottom in the autos market in Germany, and some people are like, oh, maybe I should buy the dip on, Volkswagen. After all, Volkswagen just invested like $800 million into Rivian, and it's leading Rivian stock to pop, and people are like, yay, Rivian is going to do well. I mean, Rivian's up 17% today. Remember, if you want to trade on Webull, remember, you could always hop in to metkevin.com/Webull, and you'll get some free stocks just for signing up. Again, paid promotion on the channel. But anyway, let's keep going here. Look at Volkswagen for a moment. Volkswagen. They cut their annual outlook again. Their profit margins are now just 5.6% versus 6.5% to 7% where we previously sat. Tesla's at like 18% margins, okay? So Tesla's just absolutely freaking smoking them. Smoking. Sales are expected to be down about 0.7% from their prior forecast where they were expecting actually some growth. And Mercedes and BMW have also been downgraded because of weak China demand. Also, Chinese competition that you're now getting in Europe, and the Europeans are like, oh, the Chinese are taking all of our work, and oh, these Chinese cars, they're actually of good quality. Interesting. Maybe we should consider a Chinese vehicle for our family or household. These are all sort of considerations that are going on in Europe right now, and it's kind of important to think about these. But Volkswagen is also now asking its workers to basically voluntarily accept wage deflation. Hate saying that, but it's true. Wage deflation would be a Volkswagen asking them all to take a, what do we got here? To take a 10% wage cut. Yikes. Q3 profit down 42%. Also, yikes. Not great. Workers have actually been demanding a pay raise, not a pay cut, but that doesn't seem like it's going to be going anywhere because, Volkswagen can't compete. That's why they're making a YOLO bet on Rivian. They're like, all right, well, if we're going to get taken out by the EVs, then let's at least hopefully be a part of the solution and make a YOLO bet over there, right? Anyway, management says labor costs reductions are needed for competitiveness. Germany's trying to figure out what to do with their pension plans. Sounds a lot like Social Security and the problems we have out here. But anyway, consider this. When you put all this together for a moment, you have a country that it's like one of its main core industries, auto manufacturing, is getting whacked by Chinese competition and higher costs. Pensions and unions that are making it harder for the companies to adapt, which is potentially leading to up to 3 plant closures and thousands of worker layoffs, which isn't great, obviously, for workers. And then you're sitting in what could potentially be a recessionary environment, which some are saying is going to lead to a rise of the right. The AfD is going to take over. Now, some people really want them to take over. They're seen as sort of more of a anti-immigration, right-wing, some people say far right-wing party. But you know what? There are a lot of Germans, my father included, whom I generally see as very neutral. They're like, you know what? We need to stop spending ridiculously like drunken sailors, and maybe we actually can focus on growing the economy with things that are going to make sense for growth, not more handouts or giveaways. One of the examples of a handout or giveaway that he was talking about is he was talking about how Germany actually at one point had a plan, and they may have actually executed on at least part of this, but they actually had a plan to spend money building green bike paths in Peru. I kid you not. I tweeted this a few days ago because I thought it was so mind-blowing. This is from the German government, okay? So you could see this directly from them. And listen to what they said. Chancellor Merkel and Schultz made these commitments. Okay, great. So what are you going to do? We're going to create bicycle highways in one of South America's biggest and fastest growing cities. These will have multiple benefits. If greenhouse gas emissions are reduced in Peru because people will use our fancy bike lanes that we'll spend millions of dollars or millions of euros on, then this is just as important for the people in Germany as climate action at home, because in the long run, a cleaner climate in Peru will help our climate in Germany. Okay, yeah, so they're going to spend millions of dollars building clean bike paths in Peru to try to help the climate in Germany. Yes. So I don't blame some Germans who are like, bro, we're done. We're not willing to support this sort of drunken sailor spending anymore. No, thanks. We're out of here. So anyway, that's what's going on in Germany. And again, can it affect the United States? Of course. The answer here is abso-freaking-lutely. And that's the scary part, is Germany goes poopy-doopy. It could start really weighing on international trade. Then it hits us where it hurts, which is GDP. And if we start adding to that the layoffs that we might be getting in the United States soon, it's just a bad potential recipe for disaster. We are clearly no longer in a growth cycle. We are in a contraction cycle. And Germany is a pretty good example of that. Now we'll see what the Trump administration and leaders in the United States can do. But for now, a lot of people concerned about Germany, and hopefully this catches you up. Now, I do want to quickly also just mention when these elections are, because I think that's useful information to know, and I said I was going to cover it. First, you're going to have a vote of confidence. The vote of confidence is really just a way of saying, okay, do we, can we keep going with the coalition government or lack of, the minority government that you basically have right now? And the answer to that is probably going to be no. So the current plan is to have a vote of confidence in either December or January, probably December at this point. And then you'll have an actual snap election, tentatively set for February 23rd. And then you would essentially be able to determine, okay, who has the leadership, who has assigned votes. Then you can come up with new coalition governments, essentially. So the original confidence vote was scheduled for Jan 16th. And that's because Schultz had hope that he could still actually get work done. But that got moved up to December 16th at the moment. And if he fails that confidence vote, Parliament will be dissolved. They'll have a new government February 23rd. And it's possible that Schultz, with the Social Democrats and the Green Party, might be able to work with the CDU to get proposals done. Unless, of course, the CDU tries to align with the Lindners and the others, in which case Schultz might just have lost all his power. Now, he ended up, by the way, blaming Lindner, saying Lindner was being selfish and focusing too much on his party policies and politics over the success of Germany. I don't know, a lot of people on both sides of this one going, yeah, but, they're also kind of tired of the spending. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching this breakdown on what the heck is going on in Das Wunderland.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.